Let me begin with some important information regarding this practice, these teachings, because it's important for us to be aware where this teaching came from and background of it. Sounds like a plan? Now, to begin with, of course, first and foremost, the author of this precious teaching. Who is he? Very important to know. Author of this text, Longchenpa. Longchenpa was and is always regarded, at least in our school, all translation school, one of the three omniscient. Kunchen Longchenpa means omniscient Dharma King Longchenpa. Kunchen Longchen Chuji Jabo. Now, Longchenpa is one of the three omniscient great masters in this lineage. First, Longchenpa, who came in 11th century, the great master who wrote incredible amount of commentaries and teachings regarding the old translation school. And then Longchenpa in 14th century. And then 19th century, Mepham Rinpoche. So these three great masters, Longchenpa, Longchenpa, and Mepham Rinpoche. These three are called Kunchen Longzom, Kunchen Longchen, Kunchen Mepham. Like that. And particularly Longchenpa this time. Longchenpa, Longchen Ramjam. Kunchen means omniscient. Longchen means great expanse. Great expanse. Longchen means. Ramjam, Rab means completely or thoroughly. Rab. Jam means reach to that, spread to that, encompass that. So, the one who actualize, who encompass the great expanse. Okay. So what is great expanse here? Great expanse is the Dharmakaya. Empty, sky-like nature, which knows no limitations, as His Holiness Dujung Rinpoche said. Empty and luminous, without center and edge. So this is the great expanse, Longchen is all about, which is, in fact, the true nature of our being. Longchen, like that. And also, Longchen, in a sense, infinite, no limitations. Longchen itself, I don't think there is an equivalent English word, can be translated as infinite. For instance, when Mepang Rinpoche, Kunchi Mepang Rinpoche, homage to Longchenpa, he said, Chukun Yamba Ni Ji Yin Su, Ranang Kusumrobi Zazoba, Dibra Domingumbo Longchenpa Temeweze, Shabla Soande, which in short means the infinite. Longchenpa is the one who possesses the infinite display of qualities of the three kayas, infinite. The Longchenpa who has purified the infinite obscurations of samsara. So basically, like Buddha, Sang, Je, purification, great purification, and great qualities of the Buddha. So basically, Longchen in a sense, infinite sense, here you can think of as infinite compassion. That is Longchen. Infinite wisdom. That is Longchen. So just hearing the name Kunchen Longchenpa will invoke one's true nature, one's Dhammakaya mind, one's innate purity, this timeless wisdom that has been and is always present within each and every sentient beings. So that innate purity and a spacious quality is invoked by this name, Longchenpa, Longchen Ramjam. So that is how you can think of Longchenpa's name. Okay. And then Longchenpa, when you think about his predecessors, who was Longchenpa before? In this case, one must know that Longchenpa, at the time of Guru Rinpoche, in 8th century, Guru Rinpoche, Shantarakshita, King Tison Dechen, they all three together. And at that time, King Tison Dechen was the one who invited Shantarakshita first to Tibet and later Guru Rinpoche. And he was the one who really patronized all this, inviting all these great Panditas and sending all these Tibetans to India to study, like that. So anyway, the great king, Tison Dechen's daughter, we call Champa Masal, Kunchen Longchenpa, at that time, Guru Rinpoche's time, Champa Masal. Champa Masal, when she was only 8 years old, she passed away. And at that time, King Tesong Detsen was very sad, of course. And then he came to Guru Rinpoche, request him to do something. And at that time, Guru Rinpoche, with his miraculous activity, he brought Champa Masal's life back. He brought her back to life. After bringing her back to life, and then he gave all the teachings to him, the very pit instructions, ultimate Dzogpa Chenpo teachings gave to her. So these Dzogpa Chenpo teaching later on known as Kanto Nyingti, right? Kanto Nyingti is given to her. These ultimate Dzogpa Chenpo teaching, of course, passed down from the promoted Buddha Kuntu Zampo to Vajrasattva and to Garab Doje, to Manjushri Mitra, to Jampal Shini Manjushri Mitra, and Shri Singha. Shri Singha gave these teachings to Guru Rinpoche. And all these important pit instruction, Dzogchen teachings were given to Champa Masal. Okay, that's how Guru Rinpoche gave all the teachings to her. And later on, Champa Masal was reborn later in 13th century as Pema Lindelzal, one great master, Pema Lindelzal. At that time, he remembered in his previous lifetime, at the time of Champa Masal, receiving all this Dzogchen teaching from Guru Rinpoche. Then he revealed as a mind treasure, and also as a treasure, all this teaching, what he received, revealed all these teachings. So these are called Kanto Nyingti lineage. So Pema Sal's immediate reincarnation was Kunche Longchenpa, by the way. Yeah. So that's how Longchenpa's previous life, when you think about like that. Okay. Now, it's also important for us to think about, again, a little bit of a story of Longchenpa. Of course, Longchenpa was born in 13th century to a great family. His father was a great tantric practitioner. And then when he was quite young, he was sent to Samye Monastery. In 13th century, Samye Monastery was still very active. It was a center for study and practice. So he was sent there. Samye Monastery was the first monastery that was built in Tibet by Guru Rinpoche at the time of Guru Rinpoche, King Tesong Detsen, and Shantarakshita. Okay? So Longchenpa studied at Samye Monastery. At that time, he was he of course displayed a great capacity, particularly for memorizations. As you know, in Tibetan Buddhist study, we have to memorize all this root text. And then basically, as much as we can, we memorize. So Kunche Longchenpa, at a very young age, he had incredible capacity to memorize. So later on, he was known as Samye Lumangwa, which means who has a lot of quotations, which means he memorized all these texts like that. And then later, he, in his pure vision, Guru Rinpoche came, Tara came, and he was able to receive teachings from them. they gave him guidance. And anyway, later on, he went to another monastery called Sangpu. Sangpu was again a great learning center at that time in 13th century. At Sangpu, he studied all this we call Kapyunga, all this Madhyamaka and Prajna Paramita, all this philosophical study, complex study he studied there. So anyway, he became very learned at that monastery. And around that time, again, with Guru Rinpoche's and Tala's guidance, he left the monastery and went to meet his karmically connected teacher, we call Rinzin Kumaranza. He went to Kumaranza's place. There, when he met Kumaranza, lots of stories, how he met and how, because of karmic connection, how everything, fall into order, and all these great stories you can read. Anyway, he met Rinzin Kumaranza, and from Rinzin Kumaranza, he received all the teachings. Again, Nyingtik teachings, Dzogchen, peak instruction, Dzogchen ultimate, Dzogchen teachings. Rinzin Kumaranza was the lineage holder of Bima Nyingtik. One Nyingtik lineage we call Bima Nyingtik because Bimalamita, Guru Rinpoche, around the same time, again the lineage passed down from primordial Buddha to Bimala, from primordial Buddha to Shri Singha to Bimalamita. Bimalamita then gave all this profound tantric Dzogchen teaching at Samye Monastery, and that continued. His student Nyangben Tenzin Zampo, and then Tuche Melon throughout his story, lineage master, like Jechun Singye Wangchu. Basically, all these great masters in the Bima Nyingtik lineage who attend Rembo Party, literally attending Rembo Party. So all this great master, all this passed down to Rinzin Kumaranza. Rinzin Kumaranza's heart student was then, Kunchen Longchenpa. He became Kunchen Longchenpa. And then that time, Kunchen Longchenpa, now so-called Kando Nyingtik, basically the most essential teaching of Dzogpa Chenpo, due to his past lives connection he received. And then from the Bima Nyingtik lineage, because of his teacher, he received all these teachings, both Kando Nyingtik and Bima Nyingtik, Kunchen Longchenpa received. And based on these two lineages, in fact, there's no difference, but due to the different lineages, Kando Nyingtik and Bima Nyingtik, he made commentaries on Bima Nyingtik. He made commentary called Bima Yangtik. So profound teachings, very vast teachings. And Kando Nyingtik, that what he received, he made commentary called Kando Nyingtik. And all these teachings, that he made, all this composition he made of this Nyingtik lineage, incredible, all these teachings. So that's how Longchenpa, relating to past life, and then Longchenpa's lineage from Kumaranza, all these two lineage of Nyingtik combined in his time, and then he made all this commentary and teachings, lots of teachings. So that's why you can see how Longchenpa played very important in the Dzogchen lineage as a whole. So very profound. And then you see Longchenpa's again reincarnation, immediate reincarnation was Pema Lingpa in Bhutan, who was born in Bhutan, and who played a very important role again, Dharma in Bhutan. In fact, our Bhagavad Rinpoche, Bhagavad Rinpoche's 10th reincarnation, in his past many reincarnations, sometime he was Longchenpa's Pema Lingpa, reincarnations. Sometime he was a teacher to them. In some reincarnation, Bhagavad Rinpoche was lineage holder of the Pema Lingpa lineage. And like that, in some cases, he was recognized or regarded as Pema Lingpa's, reincarnation. Like that, Bhagavad Rinpoche also plays a very important role in the lineage of Pema Lingpa. So Pema Lingpa's past life was Longchenpa, like that. Okay, I hope I'm not giving you burdensome with this all these informations, but these are very important ones. Okay. Now let us think about Longchenpa's writings. Longchenpa's writings, again, beyond this Longchen Hinti, Kanto Hinti, Hinti Yabji, Samoyangti, the unsurpassing, essence, teachings that he met on Hinti lineage, beside, Kanto Yangti and Bima Yangti, he wrote so many commentary and basically clarifying these Dzogchen teachings in the Nyingtik lineage. And beside that, his writings, most popular ones, first, of course, would be the Longchen Zödun, Dzöchen Rinpoche Dun, translated as 7 great treasuries, teachings of Longchenpa. Big volumes, 7 big volumes. So in our monastery, Namdroling Monastery, we study these, most of these 7 treasure teachings, like treasury of wish fulfilling and treasury of philosophical tenets and those things. Amazing, amazing teachings. That. And among them, most, again, for practitioners, for Dzogchen practitioner, we study Chunyik. This one is called Chunyik, which translated as treasury of natural estate, Dharmata. At Namdroling, when I was at the monastery, I had the fortune to 1 year to focus on these texts and had the opportunity to memorize the whole teachings, whole volume or treasury of Dharmata, natural state. So this treasury of Dharmata is regarded as the last composition of Longchenpa among these 7 treasures. So in these teachings, he systematically, divide and clarify Dzogchen teachings like that. And then one very, very important, again, for Dzogchen practitioners is called Chuinzhe. Chuinzhe is again something that practitioners always keep, always read. In my own case, I had the opportunity to study and receive lots of teachings with this from Dongse Chelenobu Rinpoche. And then I always keep these teachings, close to me. I try, whenever I have time, I try to read like that. These teachings, not just scholars writing kind of teachings, but these teachings from Longchenpa's really wisdom come from. And these teachings regarded as when you hear the teachings that which can liberation upon hearing such teachings regard like that. If I tell you a story, like my first teacher, Tulku Rinpoche, one time he was very sick and he was ready to pass away. And at that time, he asked my father, who was his main student, he called him up and said to him, after I pass away, beside doing these other things, you must read this Chuinzhe as I pass away. And then every day for 21 days, you read once every day this Chuinzhe. So this will be sufficient for me, all the prayers you do. Rest are, if you can do it, but not necessary. This will be sufficient, like that. So, Yunchen Longchenpa's Chuinzhe, amazing teachings about Dzogpa Chenpo, amazing teachings. And reading them, and those who hear, when somebody read, consider, receive lots of blessings and invoke the Dzogchen view, Dzogchen understanding, like that. Likewise, my own connection, again, really to this lineage, I received Nyingti Yabji empowerment from His Holiness Penor Rinpoche when I was at the monastery. His Holiness Penor Rinpoche is considered really the Vimala Metta in our time, Vimala Metta himself. So I feel, there was great opportunity to receive teachings from and transmissions and empowerment from His Holiness Penor Rinpoche. Okay. And then about the whole these teachings, as well as transmissions, I received from one senior Tulku called Tulku Rinpoche. I received from him the transmissions. And then really step by step, thorough explanation of Longchenpa's teachings I received from Nyoshu Rinpoche, a great Dzogchen master. His Holiness Penor Rinpoche wanted to make sure that all his monks at the monastery receive the detailed teachings of Longchenpa from Nyoshu Rinpoche. So Nyoshu Rinpoche spent a long time at the monastery and he gave all these teachings on Longchenpa's teachings. And also, I want to say that other Longchenpa's writings, are we call Munsel Kolsum. Yeah, Munsel Kolsum. Munsel Kolsum translated as a trilogy of dispelling darkness. Trilogy of dispelling darkness. Trilogy of dispelling darkness again has three sections, right? Trilogy. And first is called dispelling darkness in 10 directions, in all 10 directions. This is actually a big volume, which is the thorough commentary on Guhyagarbha Tantra by Longchenpa. Guhyagarbha Tantra, as you know, in Nyingma lineage, the most important Tantra in Nyingma lineage. So he explained thoroughly about this whole teaching Guhyagarbha Tantra. This is called dispelling darkness in all 10 directions. Trilogy of dispelling darkness. And then Longchenpa has a trilogy of natural freedom, we call Rangdrol Korsum, or we can translate as self-liberation, trilogy of self-liberations. So again, these three writings, trilogy of natural freedom, is again each teachings like Semni Rangdro, natural liberation of mind, Chunyi Rangdro, natural liberation of Dharmata, Semni Rangdro, Chunyi Rangdro. All these things basically have the whole teaching contained there. Each has whole teaching, contained like that. And then Longchenpa's trilogy of rest, right? Trilogy of rest. Now here, these three. Trilogy of rest is what we are going to discuss. Is trilogy of rest. Among these, trilogy of meditation, trilogy finding rest in meditation is what we're going to discuss. Okay. So, regarding these teachings, informations like that. Yeah. Now let us, if you have the book, please open your book. Now, this is how we kind of categorize the whole teachings. First, name of the teachings, and then second, paying homage. Third, promise to compose the teaching, right? And then main body of the teachings. Here, main body of the teaching, first in a short poem, and then detail, main body of the teaching, and then conclusion. Okay, that's how we divide. Name, paying homage, promise to compose, main body of the teaching, and conclusion. Okay. So now, name of the teachings. Finding rest in meditation. This is, as I said, one of the trilogy. The other teachings, other two are called finding rest in natural mind and finding rest in illusion. And with these three teachings. Finding rest in natural mind is a big volume. Again, we study this at Namdoli Monastery as a really in a class. It's a subject in the 8th grade. We have to study this. So this teaching, finding rest in natural mind, contains the whole teachings. Sometimes this complete teaching called Lamrim, like, the whole teaching from very beginning, like turning our mind, for thought, turning our minds from samsara to spiritual path, Lodo Namji, and to finding a spiritual master, refuge, bodhicitta, and then Vajrayana path. Complete teachings contained within the finding rest in natural mind. But overall, when we kind of put together, we say that view, meditation, and action. View is the teaching of finding natural mind, of finding rest in natural mind. Meditation is this one, and action is the finding rest in illusion. So that's view, meditation, and action, detailing the whole path. The trilogy is not a separate teachings, but one body of teachings, consider like that. And then also we talk about how first trilogy is the ground, and this is path, second is path, last is fruitions. And how that is, how this three, view as a view, meditation, action, they are philosophical kind of, analysis. Kind of those things it's not necessary for us to go in detail. So anyway, let us think that this teaching is a view, meditation, and action, and this is about the meditation. Okay. This teaching is mainly for meditation, like that. Now, finding rest. Finding rest is something that in all these three volumes talk about, but mainly in the first volume, Finding Rest in Natural Mind, in its 13th chapter, finding rest is very much the very word is repeatedly used by Longchenpa. Finding rest. In order to find rest, then you should do this, you should do that, all these teachings. Now, the idea of finding rest, first, why rest is because our mind, ordinary mind, when you look at it from a spiritual Dhamma practice point of view, ordinary mind is very exhausted, very tired, so to speak, tiring. We call monkey-like mind. that which do not really sit still. Think about that, think this, after that, just continuously kind of thinking. So it's just so much tiring. Noshu Rinpoche, when Rinpoche gave this long teaching, particularly the first volume, Finding Rest in Nature Mind, he used to say, our mind is like an old man carrying a heavy load, and walking with heavy load. So he used to say this, in the teaching again and again. Some young monks at the monastery, they kind of impersonate him afterward. I thought it's kind of, back then I thought maybe disrespect, but right now when I think about it, yeah, monks kind of that imitating him, again has its own, reason. It's good, I guess. So anyway, like that, Nyoshu Rinpoche used to say. So our mind, with so much thought, so much conceptualization is happening. So it is as if like an old man carrying a heavy load, old monkey-like mind that we usually use. The example, that's how this mind is. So finding rest means we try with this teaching, we find a rest in our mind. Rest what? Rest from this exhausted mind. This exhausted mind with so much conception, so much thought, so heavy, this thought. We need to find a rest from this. That's the one understanding. And then second kind of understanding is finding rest in the natural mind, as it is translated, which means these teachings are method, the instruction, how one abide in the natural mind. In the natural mind that is sky-like, free of all minds, mind's construct. Sky-like nature, Buddha mind, promoted purity, timeless wisdom, whatever one's understanding may be, abiding in that. So where one abide, where one meditate, the very natural mind, and that rest refer to that very place, that very location, which is beyond location, that very nature, as I mentioned, like His Holiness Dudjom Rinpoche said, empty and luminous, without edge and center, such primordial Buddha mind. Abiding in that is finding rest in that place, beyond place. Okay, so these two are the understanding of rest, meaning of the rest. And then rest in meditation. Now, what is meditation? Well, meditation is very, everybody supposed to know. People meditate. Some people meditate just to have some focus so that they can be productive. Some people meditate so that their mind will be calm, so that find an ease in their mind. So many different meditations. For just simple reasons. These are meditation. And then when you go a little bit above that, more spiritual tradition, of course, mostly from East, that, for instance, in Indian school, Hindu schools, meditation, of course, very much teaching is there. But now Hindu teachings mention about some kind of self, right? Some kind of self, Atman or Brahman, the creator, the self, some kind of understanding that meditating and realizing that Atman, like that. So Longchenpa, in his teaching, he emphasized on this. So that's why I want to say a few words. Yeah. So our meditation now, what is Buddhist meditation? They differ from other meditations, what I'm trying to say. Other meditation, as I said, just for calming mind, just for psychological, having some psychological effects, some kind of, like that. And also spiritual lineage, spiritual tradition, there also some kind of Atman, some kind of realization of true self, something like that. But in Buddhist meditation is now realization of selflessness. That begins with a very basic meditation from Sharavakayana, we call Kanzaki Dame, emptiness of self, to understand. That begin from there, emptiness. And then Mahayana, emptiness. Vajrayana, of course, emptiness. Why emptiness? So now Buddhist meditation is meditation with understanding of emptiness. Why emptiness? Because if there is a self, that's the whole point here. The whole Buddha Dhamma teachings, when Buddha taught Four Noble Truth, the very origin of suffering when Buddha taught, negative karma, and mental afflictions, mental obscuration. When you trace back that mental obscuration, one led to another, ultimately where it ends to self-clinging mind. That's where it ends. The very reason that there is self-clinging, so samsara continues. Begin in the beginning, that's how samsara begin. So long there's self, there's a grasping, samsara continues. So that's the whole teachings. So what is meditation here? Buddhist meditation. That has to do with meditation, calming mind, understanding the mind's nature, understanding how mind works, all with the understanding of mind's empty essence. So with that, Buddhist meditations is and should be, that understanding, that meditation is the liberator, that which liberate. Liberation here, which means the inner liberation. Inner liberation happens when there is understanding of selflessness. That's how it began from Sharavakayana level. And then Mahayana level, every phenomena is empty essence. So again, that continue to Vajrayana. Like that, okay? Now, that is the understanding of meditation. And then when it comes to meditation, again, there are many different conceptual meditation, like, bodhicitta, for boundless, thoughts. And all this conceptual meditation, visualization even, all this conceptual meditation. And then non-conceptual meditation, right? All these differences. And then again, the most important maybe categorization is analytical meditation and abiding meditation. Analytical meditation has to do with analyzing the teachings, basically analyzing, with the contemplation, study, contemplation, meditation, you know. So analytical meditation, again, contemplate, analyze. What is it, the meaning of that teachings? How do I apply? How and why such teachings are there, you know? All this analyzing each and every subject, analytical meditation. And these are actually, you know, like Buddhist philosophical teachings like Madhyamaka philosophy, Prajnaparamita, and all these philosophical teachings emphasize on the analytical meditation, like understanding of selflessness, how that happened to be, analyzing, introspecting, how we, you know, kind of come to understanding of this selflessness, you know. With that analytical meditation, we come to this certain, you know, certainty. So, oh, such meaning, selflessness. This is how it is. So they will come there. We get there with the analytical meditation, and then abiding meditation. Okay, meditation, conceptual meditation, non-conceptual meditation, abiding meditation, and analytical meditation. Abiding meditation has to do with abiding. Simply abide in the nature of mind. Simply abide, calmness of the mind, just observing, not analyzing. So these kind of meditations. So here, what meditation here we will be talking about has to do with some conceptual, non-conceptual, not much analyzing meditation. Mostly abiding meditation is what we're going to talk about. Okay. That is the name of the meditations. Okay. Now, homage, paying homage. Okay. Paying homage here, when in the Dzogchen teachings, paying homage is there's no such out there Buddhas, Bodhisattva to whom one pay homage. There's no such thing. Or the one who pays the homage. Here, from Dzogchen, with the Dzogchen teaching, Dzogchen text, mostly paying homage is pay homage with the recognitions or realizations of one's true nature. Just with that recognition, realization of one's true nature, the Dzogchen view. Just reminding, pay homage with that view. Okay. So here it reads, primordial nature, pure and vast expanse like space itself, primordial nature. Supreme reality, unmoving, utterly devoid of all elaborations. Clear and lucid nature of the mind itself. The essence of enlightenment. In seeing this unmoving and unchanging perfect ground, I bow in homage. So basically, with recognition of the view, paying homage. And then, third, promise to compose, we call Sampartam Chava. Now, Sampartam Chava basically means just, you know, now I'll compose for the benefit, so that this teaching will benefit for the future generations of practitioners. So here Longchenpa is saying, I compose this in the light of his own experience, how he practiced. So for us to even have a glimpse of how Longchenpa practiced, the ultimate Dzogpa Chimbo, is something very, very precious. So here it says that the surpassing wonder of the concurrent mind be realized. Primal wisdom, self-cognizing. I distilled the essence of the Tantra's commentaries and pit instruction. Bear heed, I shall explain them in the light of my own experience. So that's the promise to compose. Okay. Now, now the fourth one, the main body of the teachings. Main body of the teachings. So here, in order to meditate on luminosity devoid of mind's construct, basically, in order to realize one's true nature. So Longchenpa put these three teachings together. Three teachings, main subject, main body of the teachings are three. First, place where one practice. Of course, everywhere one practice, but certain practices are suitable to certain places. So, Kunchen Longchenpa is going to teach which practice are suitable to which kind of place. And then second, Longchenpa is going to talk about what kind of practitioner one should be, what kind of people practice. What does practitioner means, basically? And those who practice, what kind of qualities they should have. So the person who practice meditation, define that person. It's a second subject. It's the main body of the teachings. First Vajra point is the place where one practice. Second Vajra point, the person who practice. And third Vajra point is what we practice. Now, what is the practice? So here, Longchenpa is going to emphasize mainly on great bliss, luminosity, and no thought, which are the different characteristics of the meditation. So we are going to talk about in detail how one practice these three aspects. And then the conclusion and dedication. Okay, I think we stop here for this first class. And then if we have any questions, let us, spend a few minutes here. Okay, question if you have one.
People have question, use the little raise hand, little sign next to your name, and I will unmute you.
Any questions or that?
I'm not seeing any hands,
Okay.
but I think Karuna has a question, so I'll just unmute her. There. You can also turn on your video, Karuna, if you want.
Okay, I think I'll just leave my picture. Well, thank you, Rinpoche. You're really laying it out. It sounds like we're going on a journey together. So I don't have a specific question. I just want to express my gratitude, and I look forward to the journey. You know, I've read the first book, and I'm really looking forward to your support and guidance through all these stages. So maybe
Okay.
more questions.
Yes. Yeah. Look forward to this discussion further. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes. Let me unmute. It's John Pfeiffer.
Okay.
Are we unmuted?
We're unmuted.
Okay, actually it's Kate. Hi. You said Moonsel Korsum. I just wanted to ask about that. It sounded like there were three texts or three parts of that. One had to do with 10 directions and 10 directions. That was on the commentary on Gorba. And then the second was
Yeah.
freedom. But I didn't get to, what was the third?
Okay. Jungden chochu mensel, duden marik mensel. There are main teachings in this trilogy is the chochu mensel, the Goyagaba Tantra's explanation is the main one. Duden marik mensel, dispelling the darkness of mind and dispelling the delusions. So these actually the teachings further explanation about this Goyagaba Tantra's teachings.
Okay, thank you.
Other two are more explanation. For instance, these are more, instead of elaborating step-by-step teaching, more general teaching about the subject of this Goyagaba Tantra. But at the monastery, what we study mostly, our focus is always on the dispelling the darkness in all direction, which is Goyagaba Tantra's teachings. This is much more focus. Other ones are more shorter version of general, little bit introduction or general teachings about. So not very much focus. Again, of course, part of this Goyagaba Tantra's teachings. And Goyagaba Tantra teaching, as you know, in all his translation school, all these great masters of the past, everybody emphasized making commentaries on this Goyagaba Tantra. Goyagaba Tantra is unique in the old translation school. And actually 20 some commentaries you can find by all these great masters about Goyagaba Tantra. So Longchenpa's Goyagaba Tantra commentary is this one. This one. And one also I want to say is that why Longchenpa's teachings important is because unlike other scholars writing, Longchenpa considered incredibly realized being. Actually, there are stories that when he wrote 7 great treasures, 3 protectors like Ekadzati, Dorjelekpa, Rahula, one prepare the ink, one prepare the paper, one prepare the pen, all these things we talk about in Longchenpa's biography. And then they prepare for him, he write, and once they're, actually there's a cave where Longchenpa wrote, and the cave where these protectors, once Longchenpa completed his writing, these three protectors now dissolve back, to these places, such like that. So Longchenpa's teachings, writings are not just a compose kind of regular text, regular thing, but rather definitely from his wisdom, omniscient mind, put forth. So something very precious, like that, I want to say, yeah. Next question.
Sorry, I was muted. It's William. He's unmuted.
Okay.
Go ahead, William. Hold on. I think William is the last name. Yeah, William Wright. Hello. I guess I'll go to the next person, which is Juan Jose. There. Oh, yeah.
Hi. Okay.
Could you, Rinpoche, please, first, thank you very much.
Can you ask Karuna to turn mute her computer, because you have echoes.
Yeah, there's echoes. I am muted.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay, hold on. Tulku, there we go. Hold on, let me find Juan Jose. He's just vanished somewhere. There he is.
Of the Guya Garba, some idea of how it fits. It's one of the originals, that the root for Nyingma lineage, but could you give some idea how this is part of the lineage and why it's such a root tantra for Nyingma lineage? Thank you.
First, I want to say the other two, Dudun Marik Mösel, Jungdun Hichi Mösel, Dudun Marik Mösel, Jungdun Hichi Mösel in Tibetan. Dispelling the darkness of the mind, dispelling the ignorance of the mind, okay. Chokchu Mösel is one thing, Dudun Hichi Mösel, Jungdun Marik Mösel, the other two, dispelling darkness. So now Guya Gaba Tantra is a very, very important one because in all translation school, we call Maha, Anu, Ati Yoga. Maha Yoga, Anu Yoga, Ati Yoga, this inner, the most profound three tantras. So these tantra, among these tantra, Guya Gaba Tantra is, according to Longchenpa, Maha Ati Tantra, Maha Ati Tantra. These tantra basically, as I said, the lineage passed down from Samantha Bhadra to Pai Buddha to Vajrasattva or Vajrapani, and then continue down. So in this Guya Gaba Tantra, its subject is the ground, path, and fruition. The most extensive teachings, what is ground? The most extensive teachings. What is path? Path, method, path of liberation. So detailed teachings. And then what is the result? Result of 4 Vidyadharas. all these things, if one study Guhyagarbha Tantra, in Guhyagarbha Tantra, basically, you find the whole teachings, not only the ground path fruitions, as well as within the path, then all the teaching like even mandala, mantra. So all these teachings, basically ritual, basically what we do in the inner tantric traditions, what we do, all found rooted in Guhyagarbha Tantra. So as a practitioner of inner Tantra, Vajrayana practitioner, we must, in fact, must study Guhyagarbha Tantra. I wanted to really share this teaching, just discuss with you whatever I know. But so far, the translation, some issues, like that, did not happen. Of course, partially we study, of course, Longchenpa right now studying is also part of, Guhyagarbha Tantra, you can say. But Guhyagarbha Tantra itself is such a teaching, that elaborate teaching in which contain everything, so to speak. So that's why, particularly all translation school, Hanjur Tantra, Tantra of the all translation school, Guhyagarbha Tantra plays such an important role. So this is Guhyagarbha. Within Guhyagarbha Tantra, you can find Maha Yoga, Anu Yoga, Ati Yoga, all actually. Even though they are different, tantras that which emphasize on Maha Yoga only, Anu Yoga only, Ati Yoga only. But Guhyagarbha Tantra encompasses this whole teachings. And then that's why throughout the century, so much emphasis has been paid. And then lots of, in Namdroling, we study for 2 years, 7th grade, as well as 8th grade. We go to study Rinpoche's commentary on Guhyagarbha Tantra, Longchenpa's commentary about Guhyagarbha Tantra, and Dotup Chen Tenbinima, third Dotup Chen's Guhyagarbha Tantra commentary. So much detailed teachings. We study scholars, monks compose, make articles about the subject and all these things.